Hello and blessings, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Avalon Cameron and I am excited to bring to you a nice little tarot video. So in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you to really enhance and just super duper charge your tarot practice for the new year of 2025. Yay! Alright, so without further ado, let's get stuck into the 5 little tips that I have for you today. Now, the baseline of this is to bring more enjoyment, more connection, and more awareness within your tarot practice. The sun is beating down on my face right now. It was so overcast before. Now it's come out. Anyway, let's get into it. My first tip is to set the mood for your readings. Whether this is a really quick reading, a little 1-card draw, a little card on the fly, doesn't really matter. Or if you're sitting down to do a bit more of a larger reading, maybe a little 3-card, maybe a little 5-card, maybe a little 9-card, maybe a little year ahead spread, it doesn't really matter. The point here is that tarot, to bring that connection with it, it's nice to involve a little ritual. So you don't have to be super elaborate about this at all, by the way. This can simply be choosing a space to read in each and every time you choose to read in. Mine's the kitchen table or my reader's table. I have 2, so it's okay to have 2. It's okay to have more than 2. But the point here is I light the candle each and every time I do a reading. No matter where I am, I light the candle. I have a candle on my kitchen table and I have a candle on my reader's table, and I light those candles to shift the atmosphere, to bring like this sense of ambiance to the experience. I then light a little bit of incense. That's just me, it doesn't need to be you. The point here is that I bring a crystal close by, and I like to work a little bit ritualistic with my tarot because it creates this depth of experience in the moment. Like, it makes it feel more special. It makes it feel magical. It makes it feel like something that you should definitely respect. It's this palpable energy that you create by just involving a little bit of ritual. And to do this, you needn't go out of your way. This doesn't have to be super elaborate. Of course, if you want it to be elaborate, you absolutely can make it elaborate. The point here is, it doesn't matter how simple you go, just a little bit of ritual can enhance the experience so much and bring in that veil of magic and that, that crackling little energy that we love, that woo-woo feeling, that little witchy touch that we love. And it's such a beautiful thing to do. So if you can remember to do it, even if you have a traveling tarot kit, it's nice to have a little tin candle. It's nice to have a little incense, a little Palo Santo, a little leaf that is dry that you can light, and just a little tiny bit of smoke or a little something that helps to shift the energy from the mundane to something that's a little tiny bit more magical, a little bit more meaningful, something that is worthy of presence, focus, and respect. Tip number 2, you're going to get bored of me saying this one, but start a tarot journal or refresh the journal that you have. Give it some 2025 zhuzhing. It's so beneficial to have a record-keeping device in place for your tarot. And I think the new year is a great way to start this record-keeping experience. Like, you needn't stick with any formula that you start with for the new year. It's all about experimentation, adaptation. It's all about flow when it comes to journals. But having a tarot journal to reflect all the spreads that you have used throughout the year, all the experiences, all the synchronicities, the decks that you've worked with, the things that have worked, the readings that you've had, just keeping this record, oh my God, it just sets my heart on fire. I love looking back and seeing the moments, the highlighted moments, the times where I've done a banger reading and everything is just unfurled in my day-to-day life in a way that is so unique. And then I can journal about that, that comparative experience. Here are the cards and here is what happened in my life. And that gives me a brand new way of looking at the cards, living the cards, and then celebrating the cards retrospectively. So that's a vibe. Tarot journal, so recommend it. You might be bored of me saying it, and I apologize if you are, but I love to journal. I love it, and I think record keeping with tarot is a personal responsibility item that must be checked off one's list. That's sun. Right, my third tip for you, darlings, is to try some fresh, new, juicy spreads. Now, I understand that spreads aren't for everyone. I myself am a freeform reader, but I do lean into a spread from time to time. And if you are interested, but only if you're interested, I have a collection of 50 pop culture inspired tarot spreads up on my website for sale. So I'll link them in the cards here if that's something that interests you. They are so much fun. They are so juicy. They're so tasty. They're so much fun. Anyways, but looping back, spreads for the new year, they can be whatever you want them to be. You can design them yourself. You can look them up on the internet. You can work with whatever you want here, really. There are so many spread options out there. But I think at the start of the new year, where we are right now, you can't go wrong with a new year ahead spread. At its core, it's 12 cards. I personally do offer my clients a magical new year ahead spread, and it's massive. It's way more than 12 cards, and I have been banging those out all day today. I've literally sat down and I've done about 5 of them, and then I've come out here to film this video. So they are a really great option if you are wanting to do a really comprehensive spread, a little bit of a forecast style reading for yourself for the new year. And it's something that you can record in your tarot journal, which we just spoke about, because you are going to want to keep track of how the new year ahead spread is evolving throughout the year. And so if you can't be bothered doing a New Year spread, you can come to me. I'll do one for you. That's not a problem at all. I'll also link that one up in the cards. Good for me, right? Good for me. Anyway, try a new spread, freshen up an old spread, get creative with it, find a book on spreads, and start to learn about the mechanics and the architecture of spreads so that you can start to create your very own spreads in a really comprehensive manner. And you'll just become better at it. Okay, my fourth tip for you today is to get creative with deck pairings, okay? If you are a beginner, this might seem a little bit on the intermediate to the advanced side here, but for those who are a little bit more intermediate to advanced, deck pairing is something that I'm sure you have already heard of. Get creative with your deck pairing. It's nice to use a Mages Only alongside a full 78 card deck, plus an Oracle deck, maybe a Lenormand, maybe a Soul Cards, just layers and layers of it. Every deck pairing brings nuance to the experience. So play around with the decks that you do choose to pair. Maybe you're looking to decant a deck into a Mages Only. You have a beautiful deck and you're just like, I don't use it very much, but the Mages are really nice. I might just use this deck as a Mages Only experience. And then alongside that, see what deck sort of fits for you. Deck pairing is one of my favorite things. I typically have, let me count this out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I have 9 decks that I sometimes work with in a reading. Up to. That's a lot, I understand, but not always. Up to that amount. But it's always nice to figure out what your working deck's going to be for a period of time. If you work quarterly with your decks, if you work weekly with your decks, if you have a collection, if you don't have a collection, figure out what your working deck is, figure out what's going to complement it, and maybe bring in an Oracle deck just to really tighten the ship and to round out the selection. I find deck pairing so entertaining. It's like trying on new clothes for me. Like, oh, I have to pick an outfit. I'm going to try this on. Like, that's deck pairing for me. It's got a little element of like fashion intrigue, or just, I don't know, it gives me a dopamine hit. As an ADHDer, I'm just looking for dopamine everywhere I go. And tip number 5 is organize or cleanse your decks. If you didn't do this as a closing down ritual, do this now because it's early on in the year. But it's nice to reset decks, it's nice to cleanse decks, it's nice to organize decks, it's nice to, keep a list of the decks that you are planning on working with this year. It's nice to do a database of the deck collection that you have. It's something I aspire to. I need Virgos around me when I do that. I have too many decks and I need to catalog them all. That is not a start of the year job. That is a many Virgos job. But I do like to organize my decks. I like to reset the decks that I have on my reader's table. First and foremost, I put them in order. New year, start fresh. That's something that I do. And then I'll grab either Palo Santo, which is sacred to my part of the world, or frankincense, which I have been loving working with lately. And then I like to smoke cleanse and reset. Then I spritz it all and I just make it feel really yummy and fresh and like revitalized, like reawoken. It's, I don't know, it's like cleaning your house, like doing a spring clean on your house, resetting and reorganizing your decks. And it gives me a great opportunity to decide if I'm going to work with the same decks that I closed out the new year or if I'm going to bring some fresh new energy. I brought in some fresh new energy, of course, because I did this. I'm currently working with, in case you care, The Curious Creatures by Chris Ann. And I'm loving it for this high summer, everything is in full bloom, hot time of the year. If you're signed up to my newsletter, you will already know this information because I did share this in a recent newsletter, email newsletter. Anyway, so refresh your decks, reorganize, cleanse, tidy, set up your reader's table again, give it a spritz, give it a clean, give it like a zhuzhing, give it a really beautiful hit of attention and refresh it all so that by the time you're ready to sit down, it just feels toit, it feels crackly, it feels magic, it feels like it's ready to go. Like there's a great feeling attached to resetting your sacred spaces and resetting your decks. And it's not spoken about quite enough, but it is its own unique form of magic. So that was tip number 5. And with that last tip, we are rounding out this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today in the glary, bright, in my eyes, sunshine. It's a vibe. It's a sunny summer vibe. I do live in Australia, folks. This is summertime. There is no escaping it. But thank you for hanging out with me today, and I have enjoyed spending this time with you, and I hope you do put some of my tips to really good use, especially spreads and resetting your deck, because it's almost due diligence at this stage. So with all that said and done, I'm wishing you guys so much love, luck, peace, and joy. Take care of yourself, and I will chat to you again soon. Mwah! Bye!